I welcome everyone to our Moksh platform once again. And so I'm Puja, the Faculty Relationship Manager of Moksh Academy and your host. Today we have a very well-known professor and radiologist with us, Dr. Saurabh. So a very quick introduction of Dr. Saurabh. Dr. Saurabh Chaudhary, a well-known professor in Radiologist and Imaging Department in KD Medical College, Mathura. He completed his MBBS and MD in Radio Diagnosis and Imaging from Bharati Vidyapeeth Medical College, Pune. He has 10 plus years of experience in his specialization and also 10 plus publications on his name. He has accomplished so many awards like first prize in poster presentation in 10th MRI teaching course held in Nanavati Hospital. He is also a member of Life Member Indian Radiological and Imaging Association.
So one and the first basic question, sir, which I asked all the physicians, what was the motivation to choose MBBS? Let's start with basics and then we move ahead. So why MBBS for you, sir?
Right. Thank you very much, Chirag. Actually, you are doing a great work because, in today's day and date, especially after the post-corona era, previously it was BC and AD, before Christ and after death. But now it's BC and AC, which I call before corona and after corona. Every second, the education is changing, the technology is upgrading, and we need to be very, very careful because there is the survival of the fittest. And we need to know that if we don't upgrade our softwares, we won't be able to survive in this health industry, which is changing every second. As all of you know that, the Nokia mobile was outdated over a period of time, and the Apple and the Samsung went because they constantly upgraded themselves. So why did I choose to become an MBBS physician? Well, it's a great story. 22 years back, August 1998, I did my 10th and would be happy to share with you that in my +2, I got an All India highest score in CBSE examination, 99 out of 100. And that time things were quite different, So, as Azim Premji, one of the CEOs of Wipro says, that person becomes successful who can see the future or anticipate the future and make changes in such a way that he knows in which direction he's going, right? So why did I choose MBBS? I'll answer straight and simple, because of 3 I's, and the 3 I's are income, impact, and independence. I wanted these 3 I's in my life. That means the income, the impact, and the independence. When these 3 I's are there in your life, because as a doctor, nowadays there are so many variegated situations in the country that, I was going, there are 111 medical colleges in India. And because of the changing norms of the Medical Council of India, and right now the NMC coming up, there are so many challenges which are happening, like the internship protocol which is happening. And sometimes the student have to go through this huge MBBS stuff. And after that, there is a post-graduation, which is very, very important. And it is so important for the student to understand what he's choosing. So at my times, things were different. My father is a psychiatrist. My grandfather was the head of the department of Patna Medical College and Hospital, and later was the dean of Rajendra Medical College and Hospital. So I have seen my grandfather, my father growing. I would see the aprons, I would see the stethoscopes, I would see the kind of respect the doctors were having at the time. They were treated like God. So as a child, I just tried to model them. And when my father used to see patients as a young boy, I would go to my school, St. Xavier's, and every time I would see the board, where in the board it was written a very amazing statement that what you are is God's gift to you, and what you become is your gift to God. So I was very impressed by the kind of people who were surrounding me, and that is how I chose this noble profession. And always I wanted to look out for the 3 I's: the income, the impact, and the independence. That's why I chose it. Thank you.
That was very impressive start, sir. So I really appreciate. So 3 I students, very important message for you. Choose a career where you can have income, impact, as well as independence. At some point of time, that dependency you have to kind of get over, from your parents, or of any sort for that matter. Another important thing also, sir, you mentioned about your influence because of your family also being in the field of medicine. Yesterday we spoke to another physician, even that was the answer. So of course 20 years ago that was a normal trend that we say that students whose parents were doctors only used to choose medicine. So do you think is this going to be true as a statement even today, or the students who are listening to you, their parents might not be doctors or might not be from that background? Do you think they also stand a chance? What is your take on their dreams and their aspirations?
Thank you, Chirag, for asking that wonderful question. I must appreciate you that you are actually resonating with the energy of the students. That's why you're asking such brilliant questions, which might be coming in the hearts of the students. So as time and age progressed, I'm seeing that this mentality is totally changing because we are changing from the traditional platforms and picking up the modern concepts. So I personally saw that even students who were not from the background of the medical sciences or their parents were doctors, they were doing wonderfully, right? Because their innate desire was to do something in which they could serve the humanity, and in that way there would be impact. And the income what a doctor is there right now, still I'm talking about the MBBS thing, and then I will tell you why I chose to become a radiologist. Because the way a radiologist can earn, I don't think any other profession can reach up to that standards. And you know that the top seats in the post graduation is chosen in the radiology branch, right? So it is absolutely true what Chirag mentioned, that that sort of thinking is no more there. Anyone and everyone can become a doctor, and that traditional mindset, because in Eastern India, people feel that if you have become a doctor or an engineer or an IAS officer, that's it. But actually, it's not like that. The way the medical field has expanded, the way the scopes have expanded, it's said that a stitch in time saves nine. Opportunity knocks at your door only once, and it knocks softly. So nowadays, I'm seeing that people from all different stratas of society and from all professions are joining this branch, and they are doing even much better than sons of doctors or grandson of doctors. Thank you.
Absolutely. So one thing, student, which sir mentioned, and we've been hearing from so many physicians, sir said innate desire, so something that should come from within. So that passion, I think that is the answer, which all of us are looking for. That MBBS or the medicine as a career involves a lot of self motivation. So I hope all of you are ready for that as well. So that brings me to the next question. You already mentioned, right? So why radiology, and at what point of your career you did take a call in terms of radiology? Was radiology lucrative even then, or do you feel that it has become over a period of time it is lucrative at this point of time? And what do you see future of this specialty?
Right. So Chirag, I wanted to say something in Hindi because I think it will be resonating with the students from India. Of course, if some students are there from abroad, I will also
Sure.
translate it. कोई भी चीज को मानने में, जानने में, समझने में और महसूस करने में बहुत अंतर होता है, right? And I will tell you my experience with the medical science. When I was studying my anatomy professor told me that 3Ds are very important in anatomy: diagram, discussion, and dissection. And then you get a distinction. So when I was studying anatomy, I want to become an anatomy person. But when I came to my second year, I wanted to be a pharmacologist. Then my thought process changed. And in my third year, when I was doing my next subject, surgery and all, I wanted to become a surgeon. But what happens? Theory is different from practical. The difference in the taste of a rasgulla and a gulab jamun cannot be experienced or told in any language. Melody khao, khud jaan jao. So this session is so important. I'm thankful to Chirag for giving this kind of guidance to students, where you actually experience the journey. And I'm going to tell you my journey of how I chose to become a radiologist. So what was happening? I was having my friends from school times, those who did their 10th and 12th, and many of them joined the IITs and the BITs. That time we were only knowing IITs, BITs, and good medical colleges. So they were choosing the software branch. And I was really not much interested to put the stethoscope and put it on the heart and hear whether it is a lub or a dub and put in the pulse. I wanted to choose a branch which was again giving income, because we are working for income. Second, impact. And third is the independence. So I chose a branch. I could anticipate that I don't have to go and sit in a clinic. I don't have to sit with the patient. I could be in my laptop, on my mobile, I could be anywhere. And today in the world, there is the branch of teleradiology. I am connected to clinics all over India, where I get cases of CT scan, MRI, and PET, and I just need to sit in my laptop. The mails come in the inbox, and I keep reporting, and the money comes to my account. Fair and simple. Everyone would like to do a job in which the income is more, the effort is not only hard, but it is smarter, and the returns are immense, right? And I heard a beautiful statement. At youth, a person uses his health for wealth. At old age, he uses his wealth for health. And at the end time, he loses both. But as a human being, as a radiologist, I need some time for myself. Of course, I'm not looking at any branch as, below or up. We are just analyzing the different branches. Look at a life of a gynecologist. My mother is a gynecologist. So they have their emergencies, they have to be there. But as a radiologist, you are like a software professional. You are sitting in your AC room nicely at your free wheel, whether you're traveling, whether you're in a flight, whether you're going, you are there with your device, and you can report from anywhere and everywhere. Boss, you have the freedom, you have the money, and you have the impact. So you can lead a very, very balanced life in which you can take care of your physical needs, PQ, mental needs, MQ, EQ, emotional needs, your IQ, intelligence quotient, and RQ, your relationship quotient, and you can lead a very, very balanced life. And because the technology is upgrading so fast, during the corona crisis, the radiologists become the happiest people. Huh? You know why? Please ask me why. Because the clinicians were not able to go to the clinics. It was a difficult phase, and so many CT scans of the lungs were happening. After Diwali, the radiologists don't become happy, the dentists become happy, because the people are eating the sweets. After any season, people fall, and the orthopedicians become happy. And whenever these viral diseases come, there is huge caseloads. I was scanning from morning to night HRCT scans of the lung. So please understand what is the need of the hour, how the world is changing every second. And the branch you choose is extremely important, because it is like a train which has fallen on the track, and once your train is on the track, you cannot go back. So take your time in your internship, go to every department, go to radiology department, go to gynecology department. While reading the books, you get a different impression, but when you are in the delivery room and you're seeing, almost a bucket of blood coming out, and you are feeling something different, then you need to actually experience that feeling in the operation theater, in the labor room. It's not about the bookish knowledge, it's about the experience. Doing is knowing, and knowing is not doing. So I hope I've put my point across, and seeing all these things, I chose my branch, and I'm extremely happy with my branch of radio diagnosis. Thank you.
All right. So this actually tells us few things. First thing is that you should experience everything, which is why we have your internships in medical college where you rotate in different fields, so that you actually experience, as sir mentioned, gulab jamun or rasgulla. What's the difference? All right. So whether it is internal medicine, surgery, OBGY, experience your rotation and then take a call. Second point, which sir mentioned, whether you are fine with, seeing, bucket full of blood and things like that, or maybe you are good, your skills are good where you can, use knives and be part of the surgical team, or you want a comfortable IT kind of a job, still be a part of medicine. So that also will be a decision making thing in your career. सर ने एक बहुत पर्टिकुलर बात बताई, then that's what I would want to now emphasize. Sir said at every point of time, whether it's airport or at home, sir is with a device. So that brings me to the next question. So radiology is all about being being part or being involved with a lot of medical as well as technological devices. So how important it is to be technologically sound, and how much of impact does knowledge and dependency is there in terms of device. And let's say if I am wanting to practice radiology independently, can I afford to do this? Are these devices so expensive that it is not possible? So just if you could highlight on the the device part of it and the technology part of it.
Thank you so much, Chirag, for your wonderful questions. These questions are so relevant, and I'm absolutely feeling happy and energetic answering these questions, because at my time when I joined, there was no one to answer these things. I was just guessing things and trying to, because the internet was not there and all these things. But now the world is so fast and modern, and we have a lot of guidance right at our doorsteps. So I would like to touch upon this very important thing, that if you want to be a successful radiologist, you need to have the three things. First is knowledge, second is skills, and third is attitude. So here I'll be speaking about the skill part as far as the technology goes. So my dear friends, it's very simple. You just need to have a simple laptop and a simple mobile, Android mobile, and a XP laptop. That's it. Okay. You can be any part of the world and you can handle all this stuff. But suppose you want to open your own radiology center, then the investment could be huge, right? Then the investment could be huge, because the cost of a CT scan machine, and now in the era of MS multi-slice CT, there is 16 slice, 256 slice, there are 3 Tesla MRI machines, there is a PET scan, that could be huge. So you may not go into that aspect, or that could happen after 10 or 20 years of wonderful practice. But you could be a practicing radiologist, and you just need to have your simple laptop and a mobile. That's it. Nothing much. But at the same time, I would like to say that you need to be geared up with the technological things, right? You need to be tech savvy. And suppose some people are not so tech savvy, that's also not a problem. You can keep your digital team who helps you. You could be traveling anywhere all over the globe, but there could be a centralized digital team who is handling all the teleradiology reports, and you just do the reporting, and rest things are taken care of. I hope, Chirag, I have touched upon the answers to your
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. So yeah, as you said, thanks to technology and the new age gig economy, that you can always find people to take care and outsource your technology work. So absolutely. So as you mentioned, things are changing. So again, if we talk about a 24-hour day in your week, how does it look like? What is your routine, roles and responsibilities? You already covered it, that well, your mom has emergencies because she is OBGY. So in your case, do you have emergencies? How are your weekends? When do you start your day? When do you end your day, sir? If you can highlight on that as well.
Thank you, Chirag. So I am a early riser, because I strongly believe that early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So I get up at around 4:30. After I get up, I have my morning rituals wherein, I do my meditation. I go for a morning walk. I have some exercise routine. After that, I have some healthy fruit plate, so that I can gear up my energy and ground myself and prepare myself for the day. So once I'm prepared and done with the daily course, then I just open my laptop and see how many cases are pending for the day, and my digital team prioritizes the things. My dear friends, I want to tell you a very important secret, and the secret is, rather than prioritizing your schedules, it is better to schedule your priorities in life. Many a times we are putting a things to do list, and we are actually doing the firefighting about the urgent things in life, because so many urgencies keep on coming. You need to pay the bills, or some patient has an emergency, or an emergency scan has come up. But one thing I have learned in life, that there are four quadrants of time management. One is the quadrant of urgency, and other is the quadrant of importance, right? So I focus on the important things in life, because if you don't focus on the important things in life, very soon they will become urgent, right? So for me, the important things in life in radiology, number one is my own health, second is my wealth, third is my growth, and fourth is my contribution. These are the four pillars around which my life resolves, right? First is health, second is wealth, third is the growth, and fourth is the contribution. When I do these four things in my life, I'm extremely happy. And believe me, my dear friends, I'll give you a secret, right? I have removed one thing in my life, and that is have to. I don't resonate from the space of have to. Neither I do have to, nor I get have to done from people. I believe in choose to. That's why I have chosen a branch in which there is impact, there is income, and there is independence. So I choose the timings of my reporting based on my free times, because sometimes some things may come up, for example, I have my classes in my medical colleges. Sometimes some urgent patient comes up. So the cases keep on adding up in my inbox, and I report it at my own leisure, at my own free will, so that gives me a lot of space for freedom. I'm a motivational speaker. I run my own YouTube channel. Till now I have given classes to more than 5 lakh students in various medical and engineering colleges all over India, and helping the people, sharing my experience with them gives me great joy and happiness, and which is beyond the general things which we aspire in life. So I balance my life in such a way that I have some me time. I have my reading time. Every day I read my radiology books for 1.5 hours, because I love gearing up my knowledge, because world is changing every second. AI is coming, artificial intelligence is coming, the magnetic resonance imaging, the scans are becoming more and more complicated, and the magnetic power of the machines are increasing. So life is an amazing mix of knowledge, skills, and attitude, and I enjoy this variety and buffet menu which life serves me every day. Thank you.
Interesting, very interesting. So students are very important, as sir rightly summarized. That your health is very important, and most importantly, if we see his routine in his 24 hours, he's doing so many things. All because he's efficiently managing time. So right from your start of med school, ये attitude आपको लाना पड़ेगा कि you have to manage your time well, rather than you managing. सर ने कैसे कहा कि I have to नहीं, I choose to. तो वो power आपके पास तब आएगा जब आप time को manage करोगे. So it is very important. A great message, sir. Once again, thank you for it. But yes, uh, definitely this field is interesting, and sir is making it sound very attractive. It is, but at the same time, it was not easy for him. So we will also understand what were the challenges he did face. So we'll speak of that as well. So sir, in terms of memorable patient cases, so sir, finally, so as I understand, radiology at times it is a field which is you're not directly interacting at times to the patient. It's more of a you playing the role on the back side. So how does it work? Do you also interact patients one on one? And if you do,
Yes.
if you could share any memorable cases, which you've had positive, as well as any challenges, or things where things didn't work out. So anything bitter sour experience or happy experiences you want to share with your patients, sir?
So Chirag, thank you. I'm really enjoying the discussion as it is progressing. So I wanted to share with you an experience when I was working as a consultant in one of the medical colleges, and that time I was doing my ultrasound. So in ultrasound, the patient is next to you and you are doing the ultrasound. So I will share one of my experiences, which is both khatta meetha combined. It's sweet and sour, and it's bitter, and it's very, once I share it, you'll understand. Of course, it's highly personal, but I thought, the student should know that how the experience is different from the bookish knowledge. So I was doing my ultrasound, and one lady entered, okay? And there was a abdominal scan, ultrasound of the abdomen. So I put my probe over the patient, and the nurse was sitting next to me, and she was typing out the report. And as soon as I put the probe, I saw that she's pregnant, and the child is almost around 5 months or so. So then I asked very politely to her that ma'am, there is a pregnancy. So she became wild. She became wild. She started shouting and howling at the top of her voice, and she said, how can you say like this? I mean, are you a crazy doctor? And I like fell from the sky, like, what is she telling? Is she questioning my abilities, or what is it? So she just couldn't accept the fact. Then what I did, I just grounded myself, and I turned the ultrasound machine monitor towards her, and I gave her the probe in her hand, and I told, madam, you put over your womb in this, and she could put in the color Doppler. मैंने color Doppler को on कर दिया, and there was the sound of the baby's heartbeat, dup, 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 dup. And all of a sudden the countenance totally changed, and the anger changed into tremendous crying and howling. And she started crying, and she started telling that doctor, actually I never expected this, but literally it was a very bad experience. And she started sharing the personal stuff. So, we have medical ethics. We need to be very empathic towards the patient. We have the medical protocols. So immediately I told her, just relax. That's absolutely fine. No issues. I told the nurse, I got the counselor in and she counseled her. So she was an unmarried female, and so these type of cases do come to us, and when the patient is not at all expecting, because they had used all the contraceptive protective measures, but still she was pregnant and she just could not take it. So that time the doctor needs to be very, very sensitive, very, very caring, because in this world people don't care what you know, they know what you care. And that time a silent word, a peaceful counseling, a lot of empathy helps the patient. And that time, after the counseling sessions, she was cool, calm, and we further counseled her about the further procedures. But this was an experience in itself for me, which still when I just remember, it gives me goosebumps. So this is one of the amazing experiences I had during my ultrasound posting, Chirag. Yeah.
All right. Sir, again, question. So in terms of, a radiologist, you did mention that when you were consultant, so are there different roles where there might be certain roles which are patient facing and some roles where you might not require to interact with patients on a regular basis? So if you could talk or throw a light on that as well.
Absolutely, Chirag. There are situations where we have nothing to give and take with the patients. We get a whole CT scan or a MRI report with a one word that patient is complaining of headache. Then we go through the scans, the patient is nowhere in the scene. And when we see the scan and I can see a bright white spot in the MRI, and then I see that it is a meningioma of the right hemisphere of the brain. And then when we give the report, then the clinician calls up and there is no patient involved because that is not required, because the clinicians are taking care of the clinical history. And one more very important thing, which I forgot to tell in the previous question, why I chose to become a radiologist, because gone are the days when Hutchinson and Davidson and Harrison, where you put in the percussion and you tap the abdomen and you check the pulse and you hear the heartbeats. Gone are the days. Now is a day of technology. Immediately a CT scan is done, immediately a ECG is done, a EEG is done, a PET report comes in, and a pathology is done. So actually a radiologist is a very crucial role. He has to have a good contact with the clinicians, he has to get good contact with the labs, he has to have the good contacts with all his faculty members, and all the branches rotate around radiology, because whether it's a chest x-ray, whether it's an ultrasound report, whether it is a CT scan, whether it is a mammography, whether it is a MRI, whether it is a radionuclide scan, everywhere radiology is involved, and it is pervading the medical science in X and Y axis. So there are cases in which we have nothing to give and take with the patient. The patient is from abroad and we got the report, like in Fortis Hospital, Delhi. There are so many cases coming from Dubai and other places, and we have nothing to give and take with the patient. So we have both the cases, Chirag.
Correct. So one very important aspect which sir mentioned, right, that this is one field where you are interconnected to all the fields for that matter. So that also increases your probability and your demand in the field as well. So very interesting point which sir mentioned. Sir, you have already described it very well, but this is about you. What about your family? How are you balancing work life, and how much time do you give to your families, and how does your weekend look like, sir? Students want to know if choosing radiology will make them very busy, because you said there's too much money. So do you also have time for your family, and how do you work around your academic responsibilities, running a YouTube channel, working as a radiologist, and also taking time out for yourself? Where does your family, and how do you balance time with your family as well?
Thank you, Chirag, for your beautiful question. So I will tell you actually about myself. In the last 1 month, just last 1 month, 15 days I was traveling. So I had to go to Pune, and from Pune, I had to travel to Ahmednagar at VK Patil Medical College. I was the chief external examiner for MD Radiology examinations conducted by the Maharashtra University of Health Sciences. And I should not be telling all these things openly, but I'll share it with you because Chirag is a good friend of mine. Huh? In the MD exams, this time in Maharashtra, there are few medical colleges only in Maharashtra with the postgraduate MD seats. and I corrected 80 papers out of them, and many actually could not make it. So just the results came out. That includes colleges, top colleges from Mumbai like GS8 Medical College, SAN Medical College. There are colleges from Pune like BJ Medical College, and Nagpur and Latur. And I got a huge stuff of all the theory papers which I was correcting. So in the last 1 month, 15 days, I was traveling. 7 days I was in Pune, Ahmedabad, then I was in Bangalore, then I went to Delhi. So my traveling is not hampered by my work. Weekends I go for a trek. Sometimes I go just out with my family to watch a show or watch a movie. And I do this balance very amazingly, which I'll clearly tell you. 24 hours may I divided 8 into 3. 8 hours is for rest, relaxation, and my personal meditation, yoga, and sadhana. 8 hours is for my job, in which I do my radiology practice, and the remaining 8 hours is for G and C. G is for growth and C is for contribution. I am not only a radiologist, I have multiple roles. I am an ancient Indian Vedic ambassador. I am a digital spirituality entrepreneur. I am a motivational speaker. I am a chairperson of a very important religious group here, and I am giving classes. Just now on Teachers Day, 5th of September, I addressed almost 100 professors from Pune on mind counseling, on emotional intelligence. So I have my contribution towards the society, because radiology is a part of your life. Radiology is not your life. You are a human being and you have to change your caps. I have to be a good husband. I have to be a good father. I have to be a good son. I have to be a good citizen. I have to be a good radiologist. And we need to change our roles and goals very efficiently. I have done multiple international courses, and my goal in life is to help the students, help the people to understand what is the meaning of this 4-letter word life, and how to lead the life in a very balanced way. Many times you'll get a news that a cardiologist who was very fit and he was doing a jogging in the morning. I know 3 cardiologists from Pune who got a heart attack with absolute normal blood profiles. You know why this happens? This is because of not balancing the work and life properly. There is so much of work, work, work. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And then what happens? That you are not able to balance your health, your wealth, your spirituality, your meditation, and your me time. So it's very important that you very well plan yourself, because one who fails to plan plans to fail. A stitch in time saves 9. Strike the rod when it is hot and make hay while the sun shines. Thank you.
All right. So this is again very interesting. What I come to know is the fact that it is upon individual. If you want to kind of tilt it to the one side, it's your call, or you balance it out, as sir mentioned, with your roles and goals, so that you can do justice to every part of your life. So that was again very interesting and inspirational, sir. uh, Sir, how about the demand of your specialty in India and abroad in the next 5 years, 10 years? Of course, COVID has been a great booster, but how do you see your future in radiology, as a career? Let's say these students, 5 years, they will do their MBBS and then pick up radiology. So do you think the demand will be still there, and what do you see their future, sir?
Thank you, Chirag. I must really congratulate for you for the kind of lovely questions which you're asking. This very well proves the kind of experience you are having in the medical field, right? Because even sometimes many professors cannot think so deeply of what is the actual need of the students. My dear friends, please understand the pivot is this 4-letter word need. आपकी जिंदगी में आपकी जरूरत क्या है? What do you actually need from the medical profession? Just like I was very clear and targeted that I needed income, I needed impact, and I needed independence, and that's why I chose radiology. Now I will be discussing how my specialty prospects are there in India and abroad. Well, after corona, radiology prospect has increased like amazing. Just like after corona, some businesses have gone down and some businesses have gone up. The tourism industry has suffered a lot. The hotel industry has suffered a lot. But the digital India, the marketing industry, the digital media, and work from home and all this, the Zoom, and the distant education, the apps like the Byju's and other things, these things have all plummeted like anything. Similarly, I wanted to tell you, observe the changes which are happening in the society and make a decision not based on any past things, but by your own intuition, and see how the world is changing. You will be observing certain drastic changes in the medical science, right? The drastic changes which have come in the medical science, that no one now does percussion or auscultation. Everyone immediately says go to the patho lab, go to the radiology lab. And technologically everything is gearing up very much fast and fast. Initial days CT would not happen. A CT happening would be a very rare thing, and nowadays even for small pneumonia CT scan is happening. So as you observe that at one time we had those dialing phones, then we had those mobile phones, and now we have the smartphones, and now there is Zoom and so many things. So the whole world will tilt towards radiology. We will be more and more dependent on the machines. And there is a news for you, my dear friends. Now we are having artificial intelligence. Even as a radiologist, we have specific challenges in which that softwares are fit in the MRI machines, that just by seeing a brain scan they can tell whether it's a tumor or whether it's an infection. However, you always know that a computer cannot supersede a human being. So radiologist is always at the top, right? And you see a cardiology. Even in cardiology, now I am just talking about radio diagnosis, but along with radio diagnosis, a super specialty branch is coming, which is radiotherapy, which is radiotherapeutics, right? There is a radionuclide scanning. Even when a coronary angiography is there, a MDCT is done, in which a calcium scoring is done, and along with that there is radiotherapy balloon. And radiology has entered as interventional radiology to every part of the body. So just like 93.9 FM pervades the entire environment, you just need to gear in your, tuning in. Similarly, radiology is the future. See, I'm not against any science, but this is simplest, this is easiest, this is accessible. You are totally free to operate, and you have the maximum money. And that's why you will see the top branches go to radiology. But my dear friends, things don't come easy. If you want to be a radiologist, your scores really need to be high. And the prospects, this I was talking in India. For example, you could do a DNB, you could do a MD, and now the time has come for DMs, DM in neuroradiology. And similarly, if you want to go to abroad, right? If you want to go to US, then you have to get a working visa. You have to know the actual intricate conditions by discussing with your seniors who are there. It's a whole topic in itself, where the American Board of Radiology standards are there. And if you want to go to UK, there is FRCR Part 1, there is FRCR Part 2A, 2B. In Part 1, physics is asked. In Part 2, specialized branches are asked. And Part 2B, there advanced radiology is asked. So now Australia is also coming up as a very good hub, and radiologists are not only preferring US and UK, but even Australia and Netherlands, where there is a lot of scope. So I really went into deep, but this is
No,
a
that's
very important
perfectly
question,
fine, sir.
Chirag.
In fact, I would like to add, sir, in the United States, the radiology is the only field, an MD and DNB of India, which is directly recognized. So American
Absolutely.
Board of Radiology actually allows, students who have done MD, DNB in India to directly go for fellowship programs in interventional neuro radiology and get a license to practice in America. In fact, that's what Moksh helps. So we train the students for the United States license exams and help them, especially the ones who are aspiring to pick up all the specialty as a, medicine, surgery, and things like that. And but especially for radiology, this is a plus point. One of the factor why, as you mentioned, it is in demand is also the fact that it is directly recognized in America. The Indian and India is the only country which they are recognizing, and that too, radiology is the only specialization. So that is one
Absolutely
good
true.
thing about your brand, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely
All
true,
right.
Chirag. I have my students who are now working in the universities in the US and all, and they just did a small thing. They published their research papers when they were doing their post graduation in MD.
Correct,
And just
correct,
because
correct.
on the basis of those research papers which were recognized by the index journals, they immediately got an entry into these foreign universities. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that brings me to the next question. How important is research? India में ना लोग अगर कुछ compulsory है तो ही करना है, वरना that we don't want to. So what do you think? How will it help if the students, irrespective whether they want to consider radiology or any other field, do they get involved in it? And जैसे ICMR का STP project रहता है, तो do you think it is worth taking up these opportunities parallel to MBBS?
Right. So, Chirag, I would thank you again for this beautiful question. What is happening in the US generally happens in India 10 years later, right? In India, the workload is so much. There are so many patients, so many scans happening. Recently, I was in Medanta, then I was in Fortis. I was interacting with the radiologists over there because we wanted to inaugurate a 3 Tesla machine here in a scan center in Ranchi. And I was seeing the kind of workload. The machine is constantly working 24/7, and they need 2 MRI machines now and 3 CT scan machines now, and 1 PET scan is falling short. So what is happening in India? The research part is generally not taken care of well, but as age and day progresses, research will increase in India over a period of time. Now, I am one of the youngest professors and head of the departments because I took care of one important thing in my life, that I published my research papers on time, right? And I have a publication on a CT scan report published by Lambert Publications, Germany. So since I was doing my research hand in hand, and I was reading the national and the international journals, and I was trying to keep the standards of my radiology along with the international standards, right? So now what happens, people generally look for the immediate gain so much that मैं patient ज़्यादा देखता हूँ and more money comes it. But in course of looking at the immediate gains, they forget about the long-term gains. Now, if you enter into the research part of radiology, you are invited by the top universities as a, advisory role, and they pay you highly. You're just in the advisory committee because you are in the research, and you are in the managerial role. So it is also important to understand that along with your academics, along with your practice, it is important to take care of the academics part also, because just like I'm an examiner to various MD authorized courses in India, so because I have kept my academics very high, it is very important to be in touch with your books. You should love your books, you should fall in love with your books, and then you will see that you are able to experience that nectar in radiology. And what is the new research which is happening? Oh my god, it's endless. It's a fathomless ocean. AI is coming in radiology, artificial intelligence. The PET scans are becoming more and more smarter, and radiology machines are upgrading. Like the ultrasound has a fibroscan, which can pick up the cirrhosis of the liver very fast by seeing the elasticity of the liver. So radiology is changing every day, and when something changes every day, it is like a double-edged sword. One who changes with that change, he goes very high, and one who doesn't change with the change, he goes very low. So if you keep changing a little, a drop of ocean, a drop of water fills the sea, and a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Because this is a ever-changing branch, it is an ever-new branch, and if you have the stamina to gear up, you will really be at the top of the world. Because gone are the days when people do hernias and hydroceles, and gone are the days when people are giving paracetamol for bukhar and all. And now technology has advanced so much. There is pediatric neuroradiology, there is pediatric uroradiology, there is musculoskeletal radiology. Things are becoming like very small and super specialized, and in that way radiology is very helpful. Thank you.
Interesting. So, so we in all our counseling session we've been reiterating कि PG तो होना ही चाहिए. Sir कह रहे PG नहीं, super PG भी कम है. So please keep
PG
that
तो
thing in
कोई
mind.
बात ही नहीं होती है.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Perfect. So I think you covered this, but then again, why should young doctor pick up your specialty, sir? Again, any new points if you could highlight? Why should students listening, to you today should consider radiology as a career, or you can also say that in terms of what characteristics, or what we say as kind of skill set or mindset of students should have if they want to become successful radiologists? So what are these innate traits which are required basically? Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Chirag, again for this wonderful question, because you are actually picking up the questions which are so relevant. Means I'm just feeling that, if I had a mentor like this 20 years back, it would be a great opportunity for me. So why should young doctors pick up your specialty? Just like water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, ask this question to yourself. Why are you doing what you are doing? And at the end of the day, it's about the money, it's about the income, right? So straight and simple, a radiologist earns the maximum in minimum time. एक कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट को भी ऑपरेशन में बहुत देर अंदर खड़े रहना पड़ता है, राइट? लेकिन एक रेडियोलॉजिस्ट को 5 मिनट स्कैन देख के रिपोर्ट तुरंत अकाउंट में पैसे आ जाते हैं, राइट? So first thing is the income and income. Second thing is the kind of independence you get in this, right? If all the time you're just inside your clinic room or you're in the operation theater, I know cardiologists, I know surgeons, from morning to night they're standing in the operation theaters. I should not mention branches like this, otherwise it would become too much. Do you know in which branch the maximum suicide rates are there in the medical science? There is one branch starting with A, because life is very hectic in that branch, right? You have to stand with the surgeon, and from morning to night you have to administer the things, and life goes out of balance. Similarly, you have to understand that along with the income, the independence is so important. ये पैसा कमा के उसको enjoy कब करोगे? That is the beautiful thing which I ask the students, right? And the third is the newness which you get in life, right? You are like a software professional, right? Your branch is elite. Huh? Even a radiologist, if you go to any hospital, radiology is always in the ground floor, because the machines are weighing in tons. They cannot stand on the first floor. And go to any radiology center and see the eliteness, right? And wherever a radiology sits, he's like a king. The physician is calling him, the surgeon is calling him, the dermatologist is calling him, the heart specialist is calling him. In my life, I have made one change. I don't run behind people. People run behind me. And radiology helps me doing so, because everyone needs my branch, but I don't need any other branch. So these are some inner secrets which I'm telling you, which will not get in any of the books, right? So please understand a golden line which I want to share with you. To the degree you need a person, you're controlled by him. We don't want to control anyone, right? But radiology is a pivot whom a surgeon needs, a physician needs, a ophthalmologist needs, because you have to do the eye scans, a dermatologist needs, and every branch of medicine needs. So you are the king. You earn the maximum, you are maximum free. All people have to line up to meet you, to ask about the scans, to discuss about the scans. So don't you think it's a good life? It is not a good life, it is the best life, right? So the earning is maximum, the income is maximum, and the technology, you are dealing with machines. If you have a mathematical mindset and if you're a technological guy, then your life becomes so cool, calm, and collected. You enjoy every moment. That is what I can say. I can speak for long, but we have time limitations. Chirag, I know we have to end it on time.
Sir, quickly, if you can also talk about the traits, what qualities, because while things are going very lucrative, but what amount of hard work or efforts which the students have to put in during their med school as well as in their radiology PG to actually become successful, or enjoy the fruits of success as you've been doing right now. So let's talk about the investment in terms of the efforts and hard work in this process, sir.
Right. Thank you. I love Chirag for his sense of balance in life. See, it is so easy to fly in the sky. It's good to have the head on the sky, but the foot should be on the ground. So my dear friends, it's not easy. Let us talk about what are the attributes you need to reach this level of radio diagnosis. Your knowledge should be immaculately perfect. Your knowledge of medical science has to be really deep. You need to work hard and slog and really know your stuff. Otherwise, you will not get a rank. And if the college is donation based college, then you know that it is unbelievably costly. You can't afford it, and your whole lifetime you cannot earn that money. It's not possible. I'm speaking about some realities, right? So what are the things if you want to become a radiologist you need to have? Number one, you need to really work hard and gain the knowledge. Second, after the knowledge is your skills. You need to have a technological mind and your sense of imagination. That means you should be, there is auditory, there is visual, and there is kinesthetic. Your visual sense should be very high. You should be able to 3D imagine the body, right? Your sense of perception through the eyes should be very high. You should have an eagle's eye. What the others cannot see, you should be able to see. You should be able to read between the lines, right? Third thing, you should have a business mindset, right? Because finally you want to open your own center, you should know the pros and cons. It's just not about the knowledge, but it's also about your attitude. huh if you feel that nahi mere ko zyada nahi karne ka, I need a simple lifestyle, morning 9 baje jaunga, sham ko 5 baje aunga, then don't become a radiologist. Then you can just become a physician or a MS surgeon. You can just do some hernia and hydroceles and be happy in life. But if you really want to do something in life, if you want to have an impact, and if you want some challenges, where you're dealing with the technology, where you're working hard, you're working smart, you really need to be very, very, calculative in radiology as to you want to do ultrasound or you want to do MRI or, CT. Do you want to, move the probe from morning to night? Because in US, the radiologists are not doing ultrasound, radiographers are doing ultrasound, but in India radiologists are doing ultrasound. Even in radiologists there are various cadres. Some are ultrasonologists, they are not having such respect. Some are doing CT, they are having better respect. If you are doing MRI, CT, ultrasound, then you are at the top pedestal. And if you are doing a PET scan, that means you are the king of the kings. So it's not that, I'm just not going to show you a very rosy thing, that's so nice, so nice. The hard work has to speak. And if you have the capacity to do that hard work, then radiology is for you. Otherwise, there are so many branches like anesthesia and dermatology and ophthalmology, and we can choose that. Thank you, Chirag, for this wonderful question.
All right, sir. All right. So, basically, bottom line is that, students, we have to keep this thing in mind that everything, I mean, there's no free lunch, right? So everything comes at a price. And sir has really worked hard and made that effort. And now, of course, but then till date, he is upgrading himself. He's managing time, and of course, that running around is still happening. All right. So keep that thing in mind. Sir, in terms of the MBBS curriculum, since you mentioned that all fields are connected, what do you think? The student have to focus on some specific subjects which can help them become better radiologists? What do you think are the important subjects in MBBS which they should really focus if they are very clear about becoming a radiologist one fine day?
Chirag, I'm really impressed with the kind of questions. Your questions are very thoughtful, very, very, applicable for the students who are coming up. So my dear friends, please understand, radiology means an image of the body. And you can only understand the image if you know the body. So if you want to know the body inside out and outside in, the one subject which is most important for you and which is the start of the medical field, and in the first year MBBS, first subject, it is anatomy, anatomy, and anatomy. You should be exactly knowing the position of the nerves, the position of the bones, the position of the muscles, the position of the organs, the position of the fascia, the position of each and every aspect of the gross body. And my professor told me in my first day of anatomy, Saurabh, अगर तेरे को एनाटॉमी सीखना है 3 Ds पे ध्यान देना. पहला, diagram. Second, discussion with your partners. And third is dissection. We have to dissect a whole dead body in the first year. Don't miss your dissections, because when you dissect and actually see the body, then only you can understand the image. जब body ही नहीं समझे हो तो image को कैसे समझोगे? Because it's a 3D thing. So anatomy is the most important subject. That doesn't mean you only give importance to anatomy, because people are going to come to you from surgery, from medicine, from gynecology, from all aspects. But anatomy is like the root, and the other branches are like the trees and the other aspects of the thing. So anatomy is most important, and in anatomy, diagram, discussion, and dissection, and then you get a distinction, and then you can become a radiologist. Thank you.
So, one last inspirational message, and then of course we start. Is there any difference in BSc radiology, which she's heard about, and an MD radiology? So, what does a BSc radiology person do, and what does an MD radiology person do, sir?
Thank you very much for that beautiful question. So BSc radiology is like, I will first give you an example, is like flying a paper plane, okay? And MD radiology is sitting in a Concorde jet, right? After doing BSc radiology, at the most you can become a radiographer or a technician, okay? And when you do a MD radiology, then only you can put in a doctor. First you become a doctor and then you become a radiologist, right? So that is going more into the radiography kind of the physics and the imaging and the instrumentation and those things. But radio diagnosis is about the pathology within the body, which you pick up with these gadgets and other machines. I hope, is it clear, Chirag?
Absolutely. She says that she does not have a good approach, or her mastery is not there in physics. So, still, can she still consider radiology as a career? She's not good at physics.
So there is a good news for you, for her, because even I was very good with my biology and I was not so good with my physics. Radiology has to nothing to give and take with your physics. Okay, it's all about the medical field, the organs and the pathology. There is one paper in radiology, and in FRCR part 1 there is some physics which is very simple physics. Okay, if you have done your +2, you have studied HC Verma and Resnick Halliday and other things, this physics is like peanuts for you. Okay, so don't worry about the physics. You can absolutely become a good radiologist. Okay, so in this world, nothing is black and nothing is white, everything is gray. You cannot make a hill without digging a mound, right? So what are the disadvantages of radiology? I'll tell you. There is no patient interaction at all if you don't do ultrasounds. हाँ, boring हो जाता है कई बार, जिंदगी black and white हो जाती है. That's why we have to use a lot of colors in our life, right? All the scans you see, अरे उसके लिए तो नई चीजें मैं तो 1000 बार देख चुका हूँ ना. वही brain scan, वही bleeds, वही strokes, वही cancers, वही meningiomas, वही astrocytomas and all that. So life becomes very black and white, right? And you can't, you have to just sit in the same place. There is no walking around, there is no interaction, there is no talking with the patient. And post corona, you're sitting in front of your laptop and all the time you're seeing these scans. पैसे आ रहे account में, अच्छी बात है. हर भाई मोबाइल में beep बज रहा है, टंग, that means the money has come, टंग, in your account one more beep has come, but there is no life interaction, right? So a radiologist needs to be very balanced. He needs to have a good relation with his family, his community. He needs to travel, he needs to experience life. Otherwise it could be a very boring branch where there is no human interaction. बस इमेज देखते देखते जिंदगी निकल जाएगी. कितने ही इमेज देख लोगे, black and white. There is no color in our lives. So there are aspects of radiology. Similarly, many times radiologists faced health problems क्योंकि पूरा दिन वो कंप्यूटर के सामने बैठे हैं. Back issues, health issues, cardiology problems, because they don't move. They're just sitting in front of the machine from morning to night. And third important thing is the radiations, right? One needs to be very careful. We have to wear our badges. If you enter a CT room, if you go to the X-ray room, you're constantly exposed to radiations which are carcinogenic. So we need to take care, but all these problems can be avoided if you are self-aware. So there are negative aspects of radiology. Fourth is the cut practice. Nowadays there is cut practice. So radiologist ke paas, if a physician sends some things, sometimes you have to give him a part of your earning. So there are various aspects to life, but overall, if you weigh the pros and cons, still radiology is a heavy weight, right? So I gave you other aspect of the disadvantages of radiology also. Okay,
Right,
Chirag?
right. Perfect. So, sir, now I will come actually. वो ये पीछे वाला slide हो गया. What is your message, sir, for the students who are listening to you? And of course, thank you very much on behalf of the Moksh Academy team. You've given like your precious time, and we really enjoyed it. It was really motivational. So, what is your last message for everybody who's listening to you? And also, I'm sure अगर students को future में भी कुछ होगा तो we'll be more than happy to have you, so that if they get stuck or maybe mid MBBS crisis हो जाए कि क्यों medicine में आ गए, तो थोड़ा सा motivation आपसे मिल जाएगा, तो I think things will work out. So we will definitely see you in future as well. So yes, sir, what are the message and what is the last kind of a food for thought which you want to share with your students who are listening today?
All right. So thank you, Chirag. It was a great session, one of the memorable sessions with students of radiology. And I would like to share my message in the form of a poem. Is it okay, Chirag? I be able to get little poetic and send a message to
Absolutely,
students
no
so that
problem.
they can
Yeah.
remember this poem. Okay. Yeah. So first is the poem about the present day and age. And second is the poem as a radiologist, how you can be an important person and serve the country and nation at large by becoming a radiologist. Today is a day of guided missiles in the hand of misguided men. Fast food, but difficult to digest. Broad roads, narrow hearts, smiling faces, crying hearts. There is love at first sight and there is divorce at first fight. This is the truth of today. Because in the speed of doing things, many times we are losing the direction in life. So being a radiologist, it is very important for you to first become a good human being and be a doctor at the level of the body, at the level of the mind, and at the level of the soul, right? Because you can treat patients at the level of the body, but mind counseling is so important. According to the World Health Organization statistics, the mental and the emotional issues will be the greatest problem of the day and the age. And as a radiologist, when a patient is there next to you or you are counseling, you actually need to know how to deal with this skill set. Okay, so you need to be a doctor at the level of the body, at the level of the mind, and at the level of the soul. And how can you do that? I will give a last message to all of you, that please understand that doing is knowing, knowing is not doing. Just like no one can teach you swimming by giving a class on Zoom, you actually need to go and do it. You actually need to jump in the pool. So there are two types of students. One who don't listen to the teacher and they directly jump in the pool without training, without coaching, or without going to academics or tutorial institutes like the Moksha, and they just drown in water and they break their heads. And the other kind of people, they are fearful to get into the water. So you need to be balanced. Learn, teach, learn, experience, learn, practice. Both should go hand in hand. How on one side you should learn and you should practice, and you should practice and you should learn, and you should learn and you should practice. So I would love to end today's session by saying a quote: silver chains that tie, each precious moment flitting by. If you don't use an experience of choice, you won't have one for time to voice, and time will destroy the glorious past. Just memories will remain, memories will last. Thank you very much.